we'll start with the obvious. You're not going to win a lot of games when you only score a run or 2 runs, and that's essentially what they've been doing here now for about a week. Since last Saturday, they have not really had offensive explosions. They've been timely. They were timely over the weekend, especially Saturday, Sunday against the Rangers. They were timely in the opener in Cincinnati. But really, against the Reds in the opener in Abbott, they got their doors blown off for 7+ innings, and then they've been wretched, really, basically since. Outside of that late explosion on Monday night. So I understand that is the primary concern here. When you talk about how does this translate to October, can they get to the finish line? Can they win a World Series? The most important thing is what we're seeing with the offensive struggles. And I want to dive into that. I want to talk about Nick Castellanos specifically. I know you did the radio hit on 97.5 yesterday morning, and I know Nick came up in that conversation with Andrew Salchunas and John Kincaid, and I heard what you had to say. I want to sort of continue that conversation on this show. That all being said, you get into a situation where you're carrying a lead against a terrible baseball team that has really no offensive punch outside of maybe the 2 guys at the top of the order right now. And you got to find a way to win that game. So let's talk about the first thing that I guess I and a lot of other people had an issue with. And look, it is easy in the moment when some things go wrong to say, well, why did they do it that way? They shouldn't have done it that way. I think from my viewpoint that I am very fair when it comes to managerial decisions. I am not a guy, and anybody that's listening to this or has listened to us for years now, even going back to Gabe, I'm not a guy that's like, well, the manager should have done this. He sucks. He's a moron. Like Rob Thomson, I think, is a good manager. So I know a lot of people are looking for me to come on here and clobber him today. Like if you look at the job at large, I'm not going to do that. Last night, I don't get it. And so let's play this out. He comes into that inning with 83 pitches, right? And he had been cruising. He had, really nice double play to end the 6th. He looks good. I don't have an issue with Jesus Luzardo starting the 7th inning. You want to try to get another inning out of him there, considering how he'd been throwing the ball, that's fine. My thing is, once you have a 6-pitch walk and you go to 89 pitches, someone has to be ready at that point. I don't care who's up. I don't care if the guy's a sub-200 hitter. Like, who is Jesus Luzardo to get that type of trust in that spot? He's not a guy that typically navigates deep into games. He's a guy that when it goes quickly, and you should be cognizant of that. And your bullpen is lined up. You have everybody available that you want to go tackle that situation. So you want to start him and try to get him through the 7th? No problem with that. You get to the 89th pitch, you walk a guy that can't hit, get him out of game. What are you doing?
So it's easy to just look at it again, I think, Bob, within the confines of the one game, right? And I think that there's a greater thing that needs to be considered here. And the greater thing that needs to be considered here is this is a team that is right now playing an incredibly ridiculous stretch of games, right? You're on a 10-game road trip without a break, and you come home right away. There's no break happening. Yep. You have 1 day off in 25 days. You have 2 in 41. Okay. They are playing a lot of baseball. You're now basically announced you're stretching your starters out to 6-man rotation because of this. And so as such, you feel you can give your starters maybe a little bit more leeway than you would have previously because they're going to have an extra day on the back end. And you have to manage all the pitching. That all said, he had Kerkering up during that first at bat in the 7th inning.
It's too late.
But you can't sit there and say at 83 pitches going into the inning, oh, this guy who's been cruising this whole game against a bad lineup is suddenly going to lose it in the 7th inning and have the guy ready to come in at that point. It was a quicker inning before that the Phillies batted, right? So Kerkering is up at the beginning of the 7th inning. McCarthy said, now I'm not there, so I didn't see the exact moment that he came up, but McCarthy mentions it as the 7th inning is starting, as Luzardo's facing the first batter, that Kerkering is getting loose in the pen. So it's from the top of the inning before the walk even happens. we know Kerkering is up. Okay. So he walks the guy. It's like, all right, we're going to give him Riley Adams. Now it's a double. Now it's second and third. Now you look at it and say, okay, is this the time to go get him? You have a left on left. You knew that was his last batter. Even if he got the third guy out, that he ends up walking, right? Again, even if he gets that guy out, very likely his last batter at that point. I don't know how much sooner you can really, really go. I get what you're saying, the 6-pitch walk, but when you take everything into consideration, what's going on in the moment, the whole formula of the thing, I don't necessarily have a problem with where he took Luzardo out. I have a problem with what he did in the 9th inning. I don't necessarily have a problem with the manager's call there in that spot.
I think that my greater okay, so let's establish the obvious. When you play a game in October, you are going to be much more aggressive with the deployment of your bullpen. I don't think that in a potential Mets-Phillies series, they would just let Jesus Luzardo. I don't think he would ever get the 7th inning to begin with, but if he did, they would certainly have somebody ripping ready to go in the event that he started the inning with a walk. So I don't think that this is a signal that, oh, Rob isn't going to be able to, this is what's going to happen in October. But we have seen some issues with bullpen usage and going too long with guys in the past with Rob. So I think that we have to be mindful of that. So, like, I get that a game on August 14th does not necessarily translate to what you're going to see in October. I think that there's a little bit more of a frustration when you see what happened at the end of that Cincinnati series. You feel like this is a series that you should get back on track. You start it with a win. You're in position to win a game despite the offensive dealings. I get it. They're playing a lot of games. It's a stretch where you have to really navigate the usage of everybody, even if they didn't throw the previous night. I get it. I can go for it. I just feel like Jesus Luzardo has completed 7 full innings 2 times since May 31st. That's 2 times since that Brewers blow up. I mean, it's just a situation where, like, this is not a guy that typically gets through 7. This is not a guy that has shown you an ability to typically navigate rocky circumstances. When it goes with him, it goes quick. I feel like, is it malpractice? Should Rob Thomson be fired? Should you not trust the Phillies because of Rob Thomson in this decision? No. I don't. I'm not saying any of those things. I just think that last night was a baseball game that you probably wanted that one. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more aggressiveness. You don't want to just get Kerkering up and blow, burn him to burn him. But Kerkering's probably coming into that game anyway. Like, you're probably going to use Kerkering last night. So it's not like, well, once I get him started, I got to commit. And I don't want to get him all loose and ready to go. And then I'm going to not use. You're going to use him last night. So just get him up, have him ready to go in case what happened. And it's easy to say in hindsight, but I just felt like that was a situation where it's like, come on, Rob. And then you're bringing in Kerkering to a situation that's almost impossible to navigate at that point. I don't know.
I'm not. It's not. This doesn't go on Kerkering in my mind at all.
No, not at all. I mean, he more or less did his job. I mean, look, he gets the pop out, and then, we can argue about should the Phillies have played at that infield depth. Trey Turner standing a foot to his right, it's probably out of the inning. Like, right. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough call there, defensively. I'm of the mindset when you have a 1-run lead and 1 out and the bases loaded that your shortstop and second baseman should be at normal depth, because you turn 2, you get out, right? We could sit there and have that argument, but I mean, again, we're being nitpicky, I think, there, because there's data that they probably have about
those guys. And that's exactly, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like, conventional wisdom, I see it in real time. I go, like, why? Right? They are looking at much more data and much more information in the game planning process in that position than I am. And, so who am I to say, oh, they shouldn't have done that? I don't have a leg to stand on there. So I just go, okay, like, there was a rationale to it. It was probably pretty informed. It didn't work out. Stuff happens. I did feel like the decision to roll with him beyond the leadoff walk in the 7th was preventable. I felt like it was very predictable. But okay, here's where I thought that Rob had an atrocious game last night. I really did. And it was compounded by what we saw in the 9th inning. So let's go to the 9th. And Max Kepler singles on a line drive to right field, and you have the leadoff man on the ninth. So you have something cooking here. So then up comes Edmundo Sosa. And Edmundo Sosa sack bunts. And he successfully sack bunts. Successfully is a loosely used term in this situation. I don't like conceding an out, chasing a run in the ninth inning. I'm not a believer in it. Analytically speaking, it is an atrocious decision. You're putting a runner in scoring position for Bryson Stott, and who has swung the bat better lately, but he's still not a guy that I'm like, wow, yeah, like just get Bryson to the plate. We'll get this thing tied up. And then you're going to give Turner an opportunity after that, I guess. And yes, he had 3 hits last night, but those at bats weren't exactly anything to write home about either. So after the Kepler single, the Phillies have a 27.3% chance to win the game, according to Major League Baseball's, StatCast win probability. After the sack bunt, it dropped from 27.3 to 22.4. So you basically decreased your opportunity or chances of winning the game by 5% in that moment. I hated it. And by the way, it was an advantageous count to Sosa in which they did it. I, for the life of me, cannot understand what the hell they were thinking in that spot. For a team that is so analytically focused, what were they that scared that Sosa was going to ground into a double play that they just said, you know what, we'll concede an out? If you have Kepler on second, nobody out, and it's a tie game, I'm in. Bunt him over. Not chasing the run. I just, for the life of me, I don't get it.
Yeah. Look, I look at it and say, I don't mind. Look, I know that you say that the whole notion of you should never play for a tie on the road, right? In the ninth inning. I get that under most circumstances where I don't have it. And I disagreed with the decision, and I'm going to get to why I disagree with the decision in a second. But I don't completely hate it because of your opponent, because they don't have a closer, a real closer out there. Like I'm looking at it.
Isn't that all the more reason to try to keep them on the ropes? Like, you don't have a real closer out there. That guy's no experience in that situation. Why are you giving him anything?
You're banking on all we need is one hit from one of two guys. And if one of the two guys gets a hit, we tie this game up, right? I'm okay with
this team is so analytically focused, though, man. Like, we're tying the game up to what? To then give the other team an at bat in the ninth and potentially walk us off, or go into extra innings where it's a coin flip. You try to win the game, score multiple runs, get on base, have Stott single, score 2 runs. Then you have the middle of your order or the heart of your order coming up. Win the game.
I'm in agreement with you. Okay.
Pathetic.
What I'm saying is that I'm trying to understand why they're doing it, right? So in my mind, I'm trying to rationalize why are they doing this? And the reason is because they have more bullpen than the Nationals. They have a better lineup than the Nationals. Just get the odds are you're only going to get 1 run as it is, right? I mean, you might get 2, but the odds are you're only going to get the 1. So do your best to get the 1. If you get the second one, great, all the better.
If he's on second, you're bunting to third, and it's like put the ball in play, score the run. But like, you're banking on a hit. You're banking on a hit from a 242 hitter, and like I hear you. You got to do some real mental gymnastics to arrive at that point. I'm
in agreement with you. And where I really was upset about it was once it's 3-0. And you're taking a pitch. Okay, he takes the pitch. It gets the 3-1. Why the hell are you bunting there? Like, that's where it really bothered me. It's like 3-1 count laying down a bunt. Like, I've never seen, I shouldn't say I've never seen, I'm sure I have, but I've never in my mind thought about after at 3-0 sticking with a sacrifice, right? Like, at that point, you've worked the count to 3-0. This guy can't throw a strike. I'm no longer sacrificing at that point. Regardless of the situation, even if it's runner on second, nobody out, tie game, and you're the home team. Like, I'm not thinking about getting a bunt down once it's a 3-0 count. I'm just not. So that's where it really lost me in the moment. I thought you gave up a real advantageous situation and gave them an out at that point.